You're listening to the Full Court Press with your host, Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. You guys are checking me out live from the K-Sun Studios in Wichita, Kansas. You know the rap sheet. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Drew Duncan 83. You can get your comments read live over the radio. You can also slide into my DMs. Any questions or comments you have concerning sports and get them read live over the radio. Don't forget, you can listen all day, every day at ksunradio.com, or excuse me, ksunradio.org. That's KSUN radio.org. This is the Full Court Press. I am Drew Duncan, and the NBA is taking a different approach to the All-Star game this year. Which I got to say, I am loving this. I'm loving the attitude that they're taking towards it. I am loving the new approach, and I am loving the charity event that they're going to be basically having now for this. I think it's an amazing deal. I tell you what, Adam Silver is impressing me more and more every single day. You know, Adam Silver was the guy that we talked about, probably about 2 weeks ago on the program when the NBA started to do a joint venture with the NCAA. They took 19 kids. They held a big symposium. And he's all about repairing the relationship with the NBA and the NCAA. He is all about educating kids on how to pick the right agents, how to be financially stable, how to prepare yourself for life after basketball, if anything should happen, if you should get hurt. Look, there's 300 and some odd teams in Division I college basketball. So to a lot of people, 19 kids may not seem like a lot, but what they did was they took what they believe to be the top drafts coming up into the NBA draft this coming year and set them all down and allowed them to ask questions. They brought in former NBA players. They brought in agents. They brought in a lot of people to educate kids on what to do next, what your next step should be. How do you take that next step? How do you secure yourself for life after sports? And now I'm loving Adam Silver's approach to this even more. Adam Silver, basically, after the All-Star game last year, he got in front of people and he just said, look, quote, we will change it, referring to the NBA All-Star game, by next year. It shouldn't be playoff intensity, but the guys should be playing. Quote, this is a player-driven answer. So what are they doing different for the All-Star game this year? Well, it's not going to be East and West. And what they're going to do is fans will still be able to vote on who the players are who are selected to the All-Star game. From there, captains will be selected, and the captains will be able to pick the players on their team. For instance, if LeBron James is a captain, he'll be able to pick Steph Curry or Draymond Green or Kevin Durant or whoever to his basketball team from the list of given All-Stars, okay? And it was basically what it was is it was a joint venture between the National Basketball Players Association and the actual NBA. And Chris Paul, who's the president of the NBPA, released this statement: I'm thrilled with what the players and the league have done to improve the All-Star game. We're looking forward to putting on an entertaining show in L.A. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to vote on a charity, right? So the teams, once they're selected, they are going to vote on the charity that they want to donate to. And the winner of the basketball game, and I think it's awesome. You know, in a world where horrendous things are happening, like the shooting out in Las Vegas, it's good to see guys that have money, that have the capability of helping people, coming together for causes and doing things the right way. I think it's amazing. I know that there are 101 ways that you can poke holes in this. How much money's actually going there? Oh, all the things that, I on this program, I just don't entertain those notions. I don't live blindly in this world. Okay, I don't walk around with my head above the clouds thinking everything is sunshine and rainbows. But I do live in a world where I know that there are still good people out there, and the NBA is showing how good their athletes are. Adam Silver is figuring out ways to not only make the game more entertaining for fans, not only figuring out a way to get these guys to play a little bit harder, and while being able to showcase the best of what they can do at the same time, but to give back to communities that support and love the game of basketball. If you guys follow me on my Facebook or my Twitter or my Instagram, I am constantly posting positive things. I love it when I see players go and talk to Make-A-Wish Foundation people. I love guys like Tim Tebow, J.J. Watt. Even before the Houston thing, I'd reported on him years ago when he was, a part of a program that was against bullying, and he went and talked to kids that had been bullied and showed up to schools. J.J. Watt is one of my favorite guys. When I reported on Derek Carr getting the $125 million that he got this past offseason, I talked about how he said the cool thing is I can't wait to see all the people that this is going to help. All this money that I'm getting, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. That's what I love about sports. The things that it teaches us. And right now, Adam Silver, this guy is doing everything he can. When you take him against a guy like Roger Goodell, who we're going to be talking about here coming up shortly on this program, and you start stacking up how the players perceive a guy like Adam Silver versus how people perceive a guy like Roger Goodell, you got to admit it's like night and day. It's two different people. I think Adam Silver is all about figuring out ways to improve the livelihood of the guys that are coming to play his game. Because Adam Silver knows that these guys are making a lot of money, but he also knows that these guys have big hearts, and he also knows that these guys have the potential to get injured. How many people have talked about the, quote, love-hate relationship? Some people have even gone as far as to say it's, quote, an abusive relationship between the NFL and their players. How many times have you heard that in the NBA? Granted, David Stern was very vocal about fashion statements. A lot of that started with Allen Iverson. But Adam Silver, and again, David Stern, almost night and day between him and Adam Silver. Stern was constantly in a fashion battle with the basketball players. He mocked the NCAA. He didn't care about anything that was, all right, fine, we'll do one and done. That was him making fun of the NCAA, believe that or not. That's exactly what it was. He even flat out said, you know what, you guys just need to make your kids go to class. It's not my responsibility. There's validity to that, but to just pop out, and I'm a guy who loves people that are straight up, but man, I really believe that Adam Silver is giving the NBA a positive future. And it's smart, too, when you think about it. Part of this is good marketing. There are 82 games in a season. How many of us can legitimately say that we sit down and watch our favorite team play 82 damn games of basketball? I've argued this for years. I really believe the NBA shouldn't start until January, or maybe like a day after Christmas or something to that effect. I really don't believe that the NBA should be playing 82 games. I think they could easily cut down 20 games, make it a 62-game season, start in January when the NFL is winding down, and the NBA would be picking up traction and momentum. Can you imagine a New Year's Day game? I think that would be huge for an opening game. League-wide, I think it would make loads of money. But at the moment, that's really neither here nor there. I think Adam Silver is giving his players incentives, giving his guys reasons to want to stay in the NBA. You know, the problem with sports is we as fans have a tendency to also have a love-hate relationship with our players and our teams. We don't like anything our GMs do. Why do they get this guy? How come they let go of that guy? We don't like our coaches. This guy can't coach a team. We don't like this player or that player. He's not a right fit for our system. Oh, he turned the ball over X amount of times today. He can't play. One bad game, and he's in everybody's doghouse. One good game, and you can't stop posting about him on the internet. This is my favorite player. I think that we forget the work that goes into being an NBA player. And so a lot of people, the point is they've griped about the NBA All-Star Game, that it hasn't been up to the level that we came to expect in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. You guys remember, they did away with the dunk contest for a little while because they felt like it was failing. And when Vince Carter came in, I mean, he put on a showcase. And he helped revitalize everything that the NBA All-Star Game was about. Or All-Star Weekend, I should say. Same with Jason Williams, White Chocolate. Remember that in the NBA All-Star Game? Behind the back pass with his elbow? Come on. Those guys were going for the gusto. But the problem is basically a lot of people have began to view the NBA All-Star Game as, you know, we voted everybody in. We take our time off of work to try and watch these games. You know, because I remember very vividly during a time when I was working at Dillard's. I was in sales. And so I spent my lunch break one night watching the NBA All-Star Game. I didn't do things that I normally did during my lunch break. I went back there to the TV in the break room, and I watched the All-Star Game. We dedicate our time, our votes, our money. And I think another thing that has always kind of bothered me about the NBA All-Star Game, more than anything, has been the fact that NBA players and former NBA players always get the best seats. It's something to me that's supposed to be for the fans, but every single year we've always seen, you know, NBA players sitting right up there front row with their cameras, and, you know, of course they can roam free from the front row to the basketball court and all those different kinds of things. To me, that was always the most frustrating part, because as a fan, I feel like I should be able to sit front row. But then again, there goes that love-hate relationship again, right? Not that everybody else hasn't worked really hard to say, you know, dude, if I want a front row seat, I'm going to get it. I've always loved the NBA All-Star Game. I've always loved the dunk contest. One of my all-time favorites was Kryptonite over Dwayne Howard. Remember that, the little green shoes? Little Nate? That was sweet to watch. Hopefully we'll get back to that. Hopefully we'll get back to guys playing hard. And they should be playing hard. They should be treating it like a regular season game. Adam Silver's right. It doesn't have to be playoffs, but you should be fighting to win the game. You should be showing fans why you're here. They voted for you. Don't disappoint them. And then the added incentive, to me, the most important aspect is playing for the charity, which I love. So hopefully this year we'll see something different. I know that a lot of people are going to go, well, the NFL tried to do that too, and they took away the AFC, NFC, and it just didn't work out, and the players loved it best when they went back to more the traditional form, the way of doing things. This is the pride to show that the East is better than the West and vice versa. And I could concede to that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think that there's nothing wrong with trying something different. Let's experiment with something else and see how it works. And even if it doesn't work, I hope that they keep the charity aspect a part of it. I hope this isn't a one-time walk-off deal. The thing that I always look for in anything is consistency, man. Are you doing this every single year, or is it something that, oh, look at us for 1 year and then the next year just do away with it? And hopefully people forget. In case you haven't noticed, people don't forget, especially when the internet has receipts. This is the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. You guys are checking me out live from the K-Sun Studios in Wichita, Kansas. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Drew Duncan 83. And you can listen all day, every day to not just myself, but your favorite program right here on K-Sun at ksunradio.org. That's KSUN radio.org. We're going to take a quick sponsor break. When we come back on the flip side, NFL ratings down. I've got a plethora of reasons why it could be that way. We'll talk about it right after this. Don't you dare touch that dial.